All right, today we are doing an early album review. Want to give a shout out to the guys in Lost in Hollywood. They have sent us their debut brand new album releasing today as this episode is going live on YouTube. Brand new album, The Beauty of Death.
Drag me into the deep darkness, all I see. Cause I'm chasing higher, deadly remedy.
And I'm going to come out swinging right here and saying that if, Justin, you hadn't shown us this band at the end of late last year, this band would be my favorite new band I've discovered this year. Unfortunately, they will not be eligible for the awards because we discovered them late last year, and I would have had to shove them in for favorite artist discovered of 2023, not 24. But if they were eligible for 24, this album is a statement on why they would have deserved that spot if, in my case, I would have been discovering them this year. That's where I'm leading off with this album. I think it is phenomenal.
This album does kick ass. It's all self-produced, by the way. I think the guitarist did all the production.
That's cool.
So, I think this is a debut album.
Yep.
So, pretty wild. We are talking about this. There are 3 unreleased songs and 1 prelude. Both the opener and closer have not been released, as well as My Life Has Value into Sad. Which, by the way,
back half of the album,
the interlude track, My Life Has Value into Sad, is probably like one of my favorite parts of this album.
Yeah,
I really liked how that flowed in together. If you listen to it on like streaming services where you have like a small fade in, it works really, really well.
Yeah,
I really like it.
Not to mention, Sad itself, in my opinion, is one of the best songs on the album.
Man. I think it's like one of the worst. But
I agree.
My opinion of this album is, like, going into it, I was like, and I don't think I listened to any of this. Well, I've listened to some of the singles that you guys have shown me, but not all of them. So this is almost like a brand new album. I think I remember Body Bag. That's the one I remember most well. But going in, I really enjoyed like the first 4 or 5 tracks on this album. I was like, oh, this is shaping up to be like one of my favorite metalcore albums this year. And then I think it was track 6, 28. Was that? Yeah, 28.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It lost me. And it did come back to me at the end. I think it was during track 12. I think, yeah.
Lost Without You.
Lost Without You. And
that's one of my favorites.
I really like the it's like a more ambient bit. So I'm going off track names because I didn't see the names. I'm going off track numbers because I didn't see the names when I was listening.
Are you talking about like the piano in the instrumental breakdown? Or am I thinking of Midnight? One of those has a sax. That's really good.
Midnight has the sax.
That's Midnight.
Midnight has the
Midnight has
sax.
the sax.
The
Okay.
last
Closer.
track, yeah.
I think that was my
I
favorite
really
track
enjoyed
on
that
here.
too.
Yeah, I think Midnight, Lost Without You, and All Night are my favorites from the album.
I think Lost Without You could have been the closer. Like, I went in and I was
I
like,
would agree.
I thought it was the closer. It's like, oh wait, there's another track, and it kind of felt like a
bit of a
post credit
bait.
scene. Yeah,
Like a
Yeah,
bonus, yeah. I can definitely see that.
Yeah. I still think Midnight works as a closer, but yeah, Lost Without You definitely also has that like more emotional closer energy, and the way that it like slowly builds and has this big crash of energy, like it definitely.
I don't mind. It's not a complaint, by the way. Like I think like Sleep Talk by Dayseeker is another example of that. Like that album has like I'd say like 3 or 4 closer energy songs on it, and it's still awesome. Yeah, and I think this works as well with these 2 songs.
What do we think of the features? Because Tobias, Set Your Sails. I think it was what was the one on Midnight? Is Via Nova?
Via Nova, yeah.
Yeah, Via Nova. I think all the features in this were really good. I think Tobias fit well in Body Bag. Set Your Sails, I think, was a really good contrast to the vocalist in Lost in Hollywood. I think Villanova, I think they're the ones that kind of incorporated that saxophone kind of portion in Midnight and kind of brought that kind of atmosphere to it. I haven't checked out any of their stuff, but I want to after we get done with this, because that reminded me. I definitely want to check to see what their stuff is about. I hadn't heard of them before the feature.
The Villanova feature was that like harsher, almost rap vocal bit in like the second verse.
Think so,
But I
yes.
could be wrong.
But that's my other explanation by like why there was no sax in all the other songs besides this one. Which I won't complain about sax.
Yeah, I was gonna describe that the sax breakdown in Midnight as if take like this feels a little ingenuous to say, but take a False Meridian-esque breakdown and throw Dreamwake on it.
I got Dreamwake vibes too.
Me too.
Like you get this like really like slow atmospheric breakdown, and then suddenly you get some sax, and it's magical and it's awesome. But yeah, like that, the breakdown, even without the sax, would have been phenomenal. I have been loving slower, like more lengthy atmospheric breakdowns in that style. As I mentioned, False Meridian. The other one that comes to mind is A Spark by Relica that came out earlier this year. Midnight definitely falls into that same sort of category of breakdown in my brain anyway. And yeah, we obviously already touched on sax bit. I want to go back to the features because we were talking about Villanova. I think Tobias's feature on Body Bag as a single, it was a little off-putting to lead the song with Tobias as like the first vocals that you hear in the song. But I think the way that it transitions out of Deep, the opening track, into Tobias leading Body Bag, it actually doesn't feel that awkward. And I think in the context of the album, it's even stronger than it was a single. And then Jules of Set Your Sails on Make Me Feel Alright. You get her singing and screaming at times across the song. And as you mentioned, Justin, their vocal dynamic is fantastic and I think really enhances the song for sure. You also get the feature on Abyss from Artemis Rising, which is actually a cover of an EDM song. So if you got a little bit of EDM vibes from that song, or if you want to listen to the album, definitely take note that Abyss is a cover, which does feel a little out of place to me in the middle of an album, just a random cover. I've always been a little skeptical of throwing covers on albums in general, but especially in the middle of one. I feel like if you're trying to tell a story through the lyrics or thematically on an album, that putting a cover song in there kind of, even if it's a good song, which I think this cover is fantastic, even if it's good, it does take me out of the album a little bit because it doesn't feel like it was maybe as intentional as the rest of the songs are towards the theme around the beauty of death. But I think that the cover itself is phenomenal. I think Artemis Rising as a feature, his harsher vocals that come in throughout the song, like probably are the heaviest moments on the entire album. And I think it works. There's times where super heavy vocals like that are a little off-putting to me and take me out of the song, but no, I was along for the ride entirely with this one.
I really like some of the lyrics in Deep referencing some of the songs.
Yes,
there
I was gonna get on that too.
Yeah, Body Bag was referenced. I think
Deadly Remedy was
Deadly Remedy. That was the other one.
Yeah.
Yep. Which Deadly Remedy was one of the like first few singles that kind of really got me hooked on this band. I'm really glad they like didn't really they hit the ground running with the first couple singles, which I think were Deadly Remedy, Lost Without You, and Beauty of Death. We talked about those. We didn't talk about all the other singles. All Night, in the context of the album, I think works really well as a transition point between Body Bag and Deadly Remedy. I don't think it really permeates. I don't like. I think it works well, and I really like the chorus in it. Just want to dance all night. And then go into the verses. I pull you into the twilight, never let you escape. I need you more than I need anything. I just really liked that one. That was one I kept coming back to. That and Lost Without You.
Interestingly, All Night was one of the weakest songs on the album for me. Did not resonate with that one at all. And I guess if I'm transitioning to that one, All Night, and then I'm going to agree with Jacob that 28 into 29 also kind of lost me a little bit. Reading into the lyrics, I think that they work really well into each other, and they're like the lyrical ties between the two songs I think are really well written. But sonically, there's something about those songs that are not as memorable and do not get stuck in my head the same way that the chorus of Deadly Remedy or Body Bag or the breakdowns in Abyss and Sad have gotten stuck in my head, or that explosion in Lost Without You. There's something missing in these two songs that they're good songs, but they're missing that special touch that I feel like a lot of the other songs have that have made them stand out amongst the crowd of other mediocre metalcore albums that we've heard this year.
Yeah, I think them both being together, I think they were personal additions for
Oh, they are very personal. I pulled out some of the lyrics on them. If you want me to get into that, but I don't want to cut you off if you had other thoughts.
Nah, I was just kind of mentioning it.
Yeah, so 28, track 6, you get I speak before I choke, just let the truth be told. My tears will fill the sea in which you'll drown. And then the breakdown is used to hide in my room just to feel safe. Said it to your face when I turned 28. And then you get a really cool breakdown there also. And then the kind of explanation for like that used to hide in my room just to feel safe. You get the when I was 15 years, last time you slapped my face, I swore to myself that I would be your death. But then in 29, the next track right after that, it kind of there's a bit of like a roll-in version of like the perspective of where the song is being written from, where I swore to myself that I would be your death. In 29, you get my life feels like a mess, but I will find my peace. Not sure if you will make it, but I couldn't care less. So going from that like vengeful anger to almost apathy, I thought like the way that was conveyed amongst those two songs was really well done. And then Make Me Feel All Right also following those two songs, just that line in the chorus of I'm the only one who's gonna make me feel all right. I think it follows those two songs really well into the ending of the album as well. Like my only like flaws with this album, I would say, is that I think All Night is just not that memorable compared to everything else. And then the 28 to 29 set instrumentally feels like it's lacking something to get stuck in my head. But everything else on this album, as far as I'm concerned, knocked it out of the park.
There was a song that released during the album cycle that's not on the album. It was
Really?
Troubled Waters. I think we talked about it. I was just looking through Genius because I saw that the singer, his vocalist, his name is Amon. And I was looking through it, and Troubled Waters is grouped with all the other singles, but isn't on the album, which is weird.
I'm looking on Spotify right now. I'm not even seeing Troubled Waters on Spotify anymore.
It's there. I had to search it. I think it's hidden. I just sent the link in our Discord, but it's there if you search for it. It's got a Datara cover.
Interesting.
Yeah, super weird. Obviously, you know, choices remain, as I still think the package we got is pretty good.
Yes. So, Derek, you've been pretty quiet throughout all this. I want to give you a chance to share your assumed grievances, since you haven't chimed in much about all of our praise. So,
man, it feels almost personal. You know, like I don't have a lot of objective.
I think Breathe Atlantis ruined it for him.
What, Germany? No, I will say I think that this is a well-produced album. I really appreciate a lot of the electronic elements on this. I don't know who in the band is in charge of that. If you,
it's the guitarist Max Ivory.
Okay, well, the guitarist, he ate, because this is really well produced. The electronics are great. I think that my biggest issue with it is it really does just feel like at the end of the day, another metalcore album, and there's been a lot of, I don't even want to say like middling, but almost forgettable metalcore this year, like more so than any other year, to the point where I'm really wondering what's going on at this point. And unfortunately, this just falls in line with that for me. It's cool. There are a lot of, I would say, at least 4 or 5 songs on here that I really did enjoy, but ultimately it just feels lost on me as a whole. I don't feel that one element pulling me into it to make me be like, oh, this is a great like metalcore album. Like I really want to come back to this. Like it's missing that oomph for me, and I'm not sure where, like, if I can find it, you know, because I gave this 2 full listens through to see like, oh, is something else going to click with me, and it just didn't for me, unfortunately. But I can also appreciate the good in this, and I understand why you guys would like it and why I think that I would still recommend this to any fan of metalcore, because there is a lot to enjoy here, even as somebody who didn't appreciate the full album.
I definitely want to piggyback off that and say, while this is going off of like the stems of metalcore of this current time, this is a debut, so I'm curious to see now what that they have legs to stand on, where this goes from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a band that I think has a lot of potential to grow even bigger. I would almost group them in a similar vein to an Our Promise in terms of like growth potential that they have.
I agree.
At the time of recording this, they are at 64,000 monthly listeners.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that in the hundreds of thousands in a couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
Or even, it's going to go up after the album releases too, right?
Yeah, I can see them hitting maybe 80K by the end of this year.
I really didn't realize that this was a debut. So I would like to echo your statement. In spite of my grievances, this is a very impressive debut. To have this be your floor effectively is really insane.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. This is a phenomenal album, and for those of you that might be unfamiliar with Lost in Hollywood, I would say get familiar with it, because I don't think they're going to be shying away from the spotlight in the near future. I think there's a bright future for this band, and this will not be the last that you'll hear from them, from us, or just in the post-hardcore metalcore scene in general.
Agreed.